Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. Purport. Since one has to work even for the simple maintenance of the body, the prescribed duties for a particular social position and quality are made so that the purpose can be fulfilled. Yajna means Lord Vishnu or sacrificial performances. All sacrificial performances also are meant for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. The Vedas enjoin Yakyo by Vishnu. In other words, the same purpose is served whether one performs prescribed yajnas or directly serves Lord Vishnu. Krishna consciousness is therefore performance of yajna as it is prescribed in this verse. The Varnashram institution also aims at satisfying Lord Vishnu. Varnas Rama Charavata Purushena Parapaman Vishnur Aradyate, from Vishnu Purana 388. Therefore, one has to perform for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Any other work done in this material world will be a cause of bondage. Both good and evil work have their reactions, and any reaction binds the performer. Therefore, one has to work in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna or Vishnu. And while performing such activities, one is in a liberated stage. This is the great art of doing work. And in beginning this process, requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna, or under the direct instruction of Lord Krishna himself, under whom Arjuna had the opportunity to work. Nothing should be performed for sense gratification, but everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. This practice will not only save one from the reaction of work, but also gradually elevate one to transcendental loving service of the Lord, which alone can raise one to the kingdom of God. Yagyatat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tat artang karma kauntiya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. So I don't know if you had the same experience as I have had multiple times in my life, that I chant Hare Krishna and I feel upliftment and I feel happiness. And basically, since Krishna, we understand Krishna, he's absolute. He is not different from even his names. So we can, in this way, we can chant and actually associate with Krishna directly just by chanting. And that's very amazing. But my experience was that so many times in my life that I felt this happiness coming from chanting, but because the soul is not, like material energy and spiritual energy is two different energies. And by long association, our consciousness or our understanding of ourselves or the world is that everything is material. So if I make 100 crowns and I put it on my bank account, tomorrow it's still there. So when I chant Hare Krishna, I feel this great upliftment. But then the day after, I feel something is missing. And that's because the soul is not a static energy, it's ecstatic. So by long association with material energy, we have become fruited. That means that we work in this material world for some result. And if there's no result, if there's no fruit, then we give up very fast. I experience that myself all the time. And I become very despondent, I become depressed, and when we bring that into Krishna consciousness, we chant Hare Krishna, and we're expecting a result. We also get a result. Thank you. But it's not like a material thing here. I'm making money, money is coming in on my account, and now I can just use the money and spend the money and I can enjoy it. It doesn't work like that, because now we are dealing with a different energy. And because we are chanting, when we are chanting Hare Krishna, we are directly dealing with Sri Krishna. Krishna is not different from his name. So we are actually associating with God. And if we think about it, I'm associating with God. There's something called anthropomorphism. That's when we project our human concepts, and we project them on God. We think our reality, it has to correspond with everything else in this world. But it's not like that with Krishna, because everyone else, like we understand from Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj, he warns us. He says, Matirna Krishna Parato Svatuva, or Matirna Krishna Parato.
That's correct.
Yeah, Svatuva. Hitopi Pachetam Grihavratanam. Something like that. Yes, correct? Basically, the verse says that in the material world, everyone is chewing the chew over and over again. Material energy is like static energy. It's not for us it's not our quality of energy. So we become cheated again and again. We cheat ourselves, and by not going against that current. Like you go on the walking street, you see everyone's walking, And I remember first time when I left the temple after 7 years, and I found myself on the walking street, but without books, just walking around. It was a very futile experience. I had no kind of, what am I doing here? So in this material world, there's a current, underlying current everywhere. Everybody wants to enjoy. And so this, we also feel being an inhabitant, we live here. So this spiritual energy, the associating with Krishna by chanting his name, it's introducing us to a completely different sphere. And Narottam Das Thakur, a great saint, he lived 400 years ago. He said, Golokera Premadana Hari Nama Sankirtana. He said that this chanting of the names of Krishna comes from the material world. It comes from the spiritual world, directly imported, coming down. So this verse here, it says that it's actually the medicine for us. We're now in the material world. It's very difficult to grasp, but logically we can conclude that since the soul is eternal, then we must have been here for a very long time in the material world, because we can't trace out the beginning. We don't know. we can have been here for millions and millions of lifetimes. So when we associate with someone, then we take that quality. Consciousness is like that. If you associate with drunkards, you become a drunkard. If you associate with spiritual people, it drops off. We change. Like that, the consciousness change. So we want to change our consciousness, but that, even chanting Hare Krishna, as I said before, it becomes, due to our conditioning, it becomes a mundane attempt also. It can become because if I don't do it, and I put my heart there, if I don't remember what I'm doing, if I don't remember who I'm associating with, and if I don't take the challenge and also try to please Krishna. Yes, it's not enough just to pick up the beads or chant Hare Krishna. In this verse here, it says that work for Krishna has to be done. And we are doing so many things all the time. We have to eat, we have to sleep. There's 4 basic needs, like the animals also have. That is that we sleep, and we have sex, we defend ourselves, and we eat. So we're working like this. This is necessary. Yes? Don't put your head on the dance like that. It's Bhagavatam. So this is from time immemorial. We have been accustomed to doing these 4 activities, but we put ourselves in the center. And I think it's quite normal, yes. I mean, I go and get a job, and of course I put myself in the center. I have to make some money. I mean, I can't. But the boss, he wants my attention, yes. So I have to work for him. Yes. I have to work for him. So I have to accept his values. I have to accept, he's like my master now. Yes. And in Danish, when we say we make money, in Danish that sounds, jeg tjener penge. That means I serve money. Yes.
Norwegian.
So that, that's Norwegian. Jeg tjener penge. So I serve the money. So it's so this is the conditioning, our material conditioning. So this verse here, it says there's some hope, because the verse says that work for Vishnu has to be done, otherwise it causes bondage. And then perform these activities, your prescribed activities, for his satisfaction. So that is what Prabhupada basically he responds to, he answers to this. That all these things that we have to do, we eat, we sleep, we mate, and we defend. These 4 things that the animals also do, that we have to do this, but we have to do it in such a way that we satisfy Krishna. So there's the Varnashram institution, which is there. So we're in Norway, we're in the middle of, there's no Varnashram here. So the Varnashram here is that by chanting 16 rounds, it will take you 2 or 3 hours. But by chanting Hare Krishna and by learning to follow the 4 regulative principles, we are following Varnashram like that. That is how we learn to follow. This is following Varnashram. There may not be, there's no Kshatriyas, there's no, there's lots of Vaishyas, but they're not giving money to us, So that's the whole idea with Varnashram, that they support religious institution, and therefore it just goes on easily and smooth, and everyone's purified. But it's not happening. So, we should also try to, and actually working like that, learning to follow 4 regulative principles. The 4 regulative principles are no eating of meat, fish, and eggs. There no illicit sex. That means basically no sex life outside of making children, which kind of limits it to very little. And no intoxication. And no gambling. That means no cheating or no lying, so to speak. So these things are there. Chanting Hare Krishna and following these 4 regulative principles. And when the late Kadambakanana Swami, he left his body some 2 years ago in Vrindavan, very auspicious time. He put a video, he recorded a video, and you can go and you can see it 2 weeks before he passed away. He spoke about these things. He spoke about the fortune for these people that follow 4 regulative principles. Because they are actually doing that work, that they are lifting up their consciousness and they're lifting themselves up out of this material imprisonment. Yes. This is what we should try to understand, every one of us, that we're all conditioned to this material world, and we are here, we've been here for a long time. But if we want it to end, we need to do some work. The work here is to act in such a way as to please Krishna, and there's always already 4 hints. Yeah? No eating of meat, no gambling, no intoxication, and then no sex life outside of marriage. So these 4 things are there. And it may sound very simple. We can do it for a day or 2. We can do it for some time. Yeah? But we'll find that our nature, our conditioning is there. And that's when we start chanting Hare Krishna. That's the resistance which is there. From being habituated to doing so many nonsensical things that are advertised throughout our life, and everyone is cheated from birth to death. We are all cheated left and right, because no one is telling us these things. I went to school and I was so frustrated. And I just could not understand, how does this relate to me? And I just didn't have a clue, because I couldn't control my senses. I knew that was the problem. But following these principles, chanting Hare Krishna, will teach one to control the mind and control the senses. This is the only tool. This is the process which is given by Krishna, who is the origin. He's the creator of this world. He's the creator of this material energy. This is the advice he's giving us. And it's very simple. When Srila Prabhupada, he came to the West, he brought with him the holy name and the volume, Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he had 40 rupees on his pocket. So that's what he brought. He was 70 years old. He came to America. He didn't even know what he would eat there. He didn't know anyone in America. He just came there with 2 things. First canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he came with the holy name. He came, of course, with so many other things, but that's what he gave, like that. So that is a very simple process. It's a very simple method, which everyone here from India, you can relate to it, because in your, maybe already now, but definitely your great-grandparents, they would all sit down and read Bhagavad